Hello everybody, what's up? Welcome to part 1 of the guide of how to build a gaming PC. As the title up there may say, this is part 1, it is budgeting and configuration, so there's nothing actually being built in this episode, it's just an introduction. So the very first thing you need if you're going to be building a gaming PC is this. A 24 pack of energy drinks. Nah, I'm just kidding. You're going to have to work out your budget, and depending on what your budget is, big decisions are going to be made. So if you're building a budget gaming PC, and you live in the UK and your maximum budget works out to being less than £400, the decision I would advise you to take is don't build one yet. Keep your money, save up until you can afford to buy better parts. Because if you're building anything where the total sum of the parts is less than £400, it's not going to be worth getting. It'll be out of date in the year. Maybe even less than that, to be honest. And the parts will be cheap and blah. You don't want that. If you're in the US, the minimum budget you want to work with is around $600. So, like I said, if your minimum budget isn't around £400, $600, your best bet for right now is to wait and save up. So the very first decision after you've worked out how much your budget is you have to decide whether or not your budget is including an operating system or not. Because a Windows 7 operating system tends to be pretty expensive, and you don't want to go with Linux if you're going to be building a gaming system, folks. So, like I said, operating systems tend to be pretty expensive. You're going to want a 64-bit, first of all, operating system, which is more expensive than the 32-bit. If you're okay with Home Premium, I think you can get one for around £70, the OEM edition. But if you want Pro, it's around 100. So again, you're going to have to factor in the cost of an operating system as well as all the parts. So we've got the basic money part sorted out, okay? Now the next step is to decide your processor. Is it going to be Intel or are you going to build AMD? Now, and I'm going to tell you right now, right off the bat, a lot of fanboys may not like this, but if you're building a low budget gaming system, you're building AMD. You're not building Intel because it's not worth it. The cheapest Intel processor that I would even think about buying in a modern computer costs more than an AMD Phenom 2X4 965 quad core, and it's a dual core second generation i3. And I would rather have the 4 core performance as opposed to the dual core i3, and the quad core is slightly cheaper. So we're building an AMD based system. Now, if you're building a budget, like I said, we're working on this £400, $600 tight budget AMD gaming system, you're not going to want to overclock, you're not going to want liquid cooling, and to be honest, you're going to have to make sure you have a case with really good airflow. Now, the reason you're going to want to make sure you have a case with really good airflow is budget motherboards, motherboards that'll fit your price range, like the one I mentioned in the budget build I put up the other day, the Gigabyte 78 LMT USB 3 AMD motherboard. It only has one system fan header on it, so it has the fan header for the CPU fan, the CPU cooler, and then it has one other header for a system fan, which is a 4-pin header. Now, fans like this one that you will attach to your case are actually 4 pins. So if the way I've found it works out for me, if you put one of those 3 pins, yeah, these are 3 pins. The motherboard's 4 pins. I don't know if I got them mixed up or not. You see, I wonder if you can see it on the camera. Like here, 3 pins. You put those 3 pins onto the bottom 3 pins of the 4-pin system fan connector on the motherboard. So that the one nearest the top of your case doesn't have, this doesn't go over that, goes over the bottom 3, and the fan will spin. If you put the fan over the top 3, if you put the header over the top 3, your fan will not spin. I don't know why. I'm not that much of an expert, but I'm pretty sure you're going to want at least one spinning case fan in your computer, and that's how you're going to do it. Now, like I said, if you can find a motherboard that fits your budget, maybe it's on sale or something, that has, say, 2 chassis fan headers on the motherboard, amazing, go for it if you definitely can. But like I said, otherwise that is your best solution. This is an 80mm fan. You're going to probably want, if you're only going to have one fan in your case, you're going to want a 120mm fan. Like this. And if your case is going to be limited to one fan, I would recommend buying a higher end fan, just to make sure you get as best cooling you can. This is a Bitfinex Spectre Pro, and also if you're building a case on that budget, See if the fan has an LED. The LED is not going to be running because there's nowhere to plug it in. Now that being said, if you're willing to splash out, I believe it's around £30 in the UK, so I'm assuming it's around $50 in the US, money for a 5.25 inch bay fan controller, where you can plug your fans directly into that instead of the motherboard, then you may be in luck. So your memory, your RAM, I see a lot of people putting up questions on Yahoo Answers like, is this a good gaming build? 12 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of RAM. And what I tell those people is, stop what you're doing! Stop it! It's overkill for a gaming system. For a gaming system, you need 8 gigabytes of RAM maximum. You would be okay with 4, but you would benefit from the 8. No need to go any higher than that at all. Like, just don't do it. Save that money. I know memory is cheap, and it may be tempting to go and buy more memory just because it's cheap. But don't do it. Keep those pennies, believe me. Because whenever you're building, like I said, on such a budget, every single part, you're going to have to get as cheap but as efficient on each part as you can get, and they're going to eat your entire budget. You're not going to come out of it with money left over. So, power supplies. I, personally, this guy, would recommend getting an 80 plus certified power supply. I would not recommend getting a non-80 plus certified power supply. You can get 80 plus certified power supplies cheap enough. Now you can get I believe it's a 550 watt or 500 watts. I think it's a Corsair actually. 80 plus rated. Let me get it up here for $32.99. I think. So there's really power supplies. There's really no reason to get a non-80 plus certified power supply now. Because I'm pretty sure you don't want your computer melting. Because that would suck. Or all the parts just exploding and stuff. Come on, next page. Just bear with me a sec here. Here we go. OCZ Core Extreme 500 watt 80 plus power supply, $32.99. There's also an Antec one there as well, 80 plus certified, and then there's a Cooler Master one at $35.99. Corsair 430 watt at $36.98. So you can definitely get an affordable power supply for what you need. So you're going to need a case to put all these parts into, folks. Believe it or not, mind equals blown, okay? Now, a lot of the time, again, when I see people saying, my budget is $600, here is my parts, would you recommend some other parts for me? People are blowing like $100, which is like £60-ish, on a case. You're building a budget system, folks. You cannot be spending that kind of money on a case. Just don't fucking do it. It's stupid. You're going to want to buy like a £20-30 case for like $50 maximum on your case, because you're insane if you do otherwise. If you want to build a budget system, you have to build it with budget parts. It's that simple. You can't decide, I'm working on a tight budget, but I want a £200 NXT Phantom case. It doesn't work like that. Now, what I'd recommend for all you UK people, because that's where I live, so I can't exactly recommend US stuff because I don't know how the prices work over there. But if you're in the US, go to Newegg. You'll be fine. Newegg will look after you. But overclockers.co.uk for the UK. If you go onto their page, there's tabs the whole way along the top: systems and bundles, cases, components, etc., whatever you need. Hover over the cases, scroll to the bottom, click Overclockers UK value, and it will give you a selection of their value cases, which are for budget builds. Now, they have an Overclocker UK Tsunami gaming case, which is your basic entry-level black case with a power button on the front. As soon as this loads up here, it's £20. Power button on the front, your standard screw-in 5.25 inch bays, standard screw-in hard drive bays, three 5.25 inch bays, one 3.5 inch bay external, three 3.5 inch internal bays, no 2.5 inch. But again, if you're building on a budget, you shouldn't be using an SSD. If you're building on these specific budgets, you don't want to be using a solid state drive because it's just going to eat money that you could put in better places for better performance of your actual computer. So they also have the Flamingo FM12A case. I've actually just used one of these for a build. It's a snug fit in there. Everything's a snug fit. but at like, how much was it? £21.98, with the ability for an 80mm rear mounted fan and a 120mm front mounted fan. I'm not going to complain about that. Now, of course, it was all the screwless, or the screw-in stuff. There was no toolless fucking build design on this, because it's a budget case. They also have, ignore my ugly face, okay, just don't look at it, there we go. They also have they call it the Overclockers UK Imp Micro ATX case, but it's, I believe the manufacturer is CIT, I believe, I could be wrong. And this is actually classed under the Overclockers UK Professional as opposed to the Overclockers UK Value, but it's £30 and it's a case with a 500 watt power supply, you know. Or you can get the Galaxy 3 case, which has like lots of lovely little lights on it, lots of blue lights, clear side panel, 500 watt power supply, $34.99 again, Overclockers UK Professional. But bear in mind, please don't go blowing silly money on a case, because budget. So for your storage, folks, go out and buy a 1TB Seagate 7200 RPM Seagate Barracuda 3.5 inch hard drive. Only because we're working on a budget, that's why I'm telling you Seagate Barracuda. Otherwise, I would say Western Digital. They're slightly more expensive. They're around 20% more expensive, but they have much better reviews. That was a weird noise. Anyway, yeah, storage, 1TB Seagate Barracuda. That'll hold, you know, your operating system and fucking as many games as you can throw at. Well, not as many games you can throw at it, obviously, but the normal person's library of games will fit on there pretty comfortably. Sound cards, you don't want one. It's that simple. I fucking seem to spend my life telling people who are showing me specs for gaming builds and asking what they should do, saying, should I get this high-end sound card? No! You're fucking building a budget PC to play games. You're not fucking building a music production system. If you were building a music production system, why would you be spending £300 on a graphics card? Just calm the shit down. Don't buy a sound card. Use your motherboard's integrated sound. It'll be fine. Graphics cards. Now, depending on your budget, obviously, it's going to dictate which graphics card you get. But personally, me, as a guy who builds and sells gaming computers to people, I'm going to tell you that for a gaming PC, a modern day gaming PC, I would not recommend using anything below a HD 7770 or a GTX 650 graphics card. They tend to be around £100 each, but like I said, I would not, yeah, about £100, sorry. I wouldn't recommend anything lower than that, really, for anybody. Now, I'm not sure what else I can talk about. We covered budget, processor, graphics card, memory, motherboard, case. I don't know, I'm going to end up repeating myself. So folks, the video is getting long. We're going to cut it off here. This is part 1 of how to build a budget gaming PC. Part 2 will be in a few days' time, and it will be actually putting the thing together. Then part 3 will be turning it on, drivers and updates, and then that's you done. So yeah, folks, this is part 1 for how to build the gaming PC 2012 edition, yeah! Because there's places like Newegg and stuff doing a 2012 edition, and I haven't done an earlier edition because, hello! So, yep, if you like the video, press the like button. I don't know what side it's at. I think the webcam may mirror me, possibly. I think it does. In the description. And subscribe up along the top for the other parts of the gaming PC build, as well as gaming videos and whatnot, and hoo-ha and stuff. Thanks again. See ya.